Hey there, and welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to take a look at some of the new books I've gotten over the last couple of weeks. Now these are all just kind of thrown together. It's not what came out this week and then last week and that kind of thing, but just kind of put them all in the same pile here. So starting off, we've got the latest Archie's Comic Digest. This is number 4, and this is the Spring Break edition. Then we've got the DC Connect catalog. So this is everything DC's got coming out in a couple months here. And then from TwoMorrows, I've got the latest issue of Back Issue magazine. This is number 165, and it looks like they've got a feature on the Kree-Skrull War storyline in here. Now moving on to the books, we've got Batman and Robin number 30. I got the variant cover by Gilliam March, and it looks like this is the last issue. I haven't seen any solicitations past this, and I feel like 30-some issues is about how long Batman and Robin titles last. So I'm thinking this is it for this one. Then we've got issue 6 of Immortal Legend Batman. So I got the A cover here by Dan Mora. And I got this really cool variant cover. Then we've got the latest issue of Absolute Batman. This is number 17, introducing Poison Ivy. And it looks like we've got a preview here of the new Vertigo book, End of Life. I probably won't need to read that though. So and then we've got some facsimile editions. Detective Comics number 575. So this is the first part of year 2. And so they did year 1 previously, and I got those. So, and again, I have the originals of these, but I'm just a crazy completist and have to have these too. So I got the regular, I got the shiny foil cover, and then I got the blank cover. And so the blank cover, you know, has the title and the red background. I really like this, especially as an artist. You know, there's a few things more daunting than just looking at a white piece of paper. So I feel like that's probably the same way with these covers too. So it's kind of cool having a starting point like this. I almost feel like they could have put the yellow moon in there too even, you know, but maybe, you know, give people a little bit more space to play with than that. But again, I think this is kind of a cool way to handle that. Then we've got the Batman Adventures Mad Love Special Facsimile Edition. And so this is sort of the origin story for Harley Quinn. And so I've got the regular cover, and then the shiny metallic cover, and then again the blank cover here where they've kind of put the title in here, and we've got the little cards here in the corner. Now I do have this book, but I wanted to get this facsimile so I could have a nice reading copy, because my original copy is signed by Bruce Timm here. So I really want to keep this up. I don't want to be reading this one too much. Hopefully I can get it signed by Paul Dini, the writer, someday. But for right now, that stays up. Then we've got the latest issue of World's Finest. This is number 48. And it looks like we have Ultraman and Owlman teaming up. Yeah, 50's coming up, so I would think that Mark Waid's got big plans for that. Then sort of moving on to Superman, we've got Action Comics 1095. And this is continuing Mark Waid's Superboy story. Then Superman Unlimited number 10 by Dan Slott. And I think it's Mike Norton. And we're continuing this story with the new Prankster. So I want to see where they go with that. And then Green Lantern Corps number 13. Again, I'm really liking this book. Hopefully it goes on for a while. And here's End of Life number 1. So this is why I probably won't read the preview in the Absolute Batman issue, because I've got the first issue here. So I didn't buy a lot of Vertigo stuff the first time around, mostly because I started collecting comics when I was a kid, and you couldn't buy Vertigo books if you were a kid. So that it is a mature readers only line. And yeah, that's still on here. You can kind of see this here, suggested for mature readers. I just sort of developed my habits before I was allowed to read Vertigo. So I have a few books I picked up over the years, but I was never hardcore into it. So I thought I'd give it a chance here with a couple books on this reboot they're doing. I got this one. It's sort of a crime book, and it's written by Kyle Starks, who I like. He's doing the Wrestle Heist right now, and he did a book I like a couple years ago called Sex Castle, and he's written a lot of the Rick and Morty comics, so if you've read some of those, maybe check this out. Then from Marvel, we've got Amazing Spider-Man number 22. And again, this is another of the Amazing Visions covers by Lee Bermejo. I really like this one. Sort of the scene where Superman or Spider-Man is getting rid of the symbiote suit in the bell tower. And so really kind of see it just sort of scrambling to get off him here. And this is number 12 of the Amazing Vision series. So again, Lee Bermejo is doing 25 of these issues leading up to Amazing Spider-Man number 1000. Then from IDW, I've got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 15. The nice thing for this one for me is I've been backed up on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles since the previous series. I got into it late and then I was playing catch up. I'd say for at least 7 years I've been behind on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I just got caught up. So I can read this new issue now without having to read a bunch of stuff before it. So it'll be nice to actually read these as they come out now. Then from Image, we've got Geiger number 21. Looking forward to this. And then we've got Transformers number 29. And G.I. Joe 19. I really like this cover. It looks like things are coming to a head here because Clutch has been hiding Hound from Duke because Duke is not a fan of the Transformers so far. But meanwhile, Hound, the Autobot that transformed into a Jeep, has been running around with Clutch, and they've kind of been keeping it secret. So here Duke has found out about Hound, and looks like things are going to come to a head here. And we've got Star Trek The Last Starship, and I had to get the Mike Howard variant cover. Kind of cool James Kirk drawing he did here. I would almost like to see him do old school, original series Kirk. I'm sure he's probably drawn that before. But yeah, I really like this version too, and this sort of different, more modern, futuristic suit he's got on. Now, Francesco Francavilla is doing the main covers for these, but I haven't really been feeling those. I love his artwork. I've loved him since his work on Zorro. I don't know. It doesn't do anything for me with Star Trek. Maybe because he's got such a retro style, and Star Trek is more of an aspirational future kind of thing, maybe. But yeah, I'm not crazy about his Star Trek covers right now. I don't know. So I've been getting the variants on this, and again, I couldn't pass up the Mike Howard variant. And we've got Star Trek Lower Decks, and I've gotten the connecting variant cover on this, and so this is issue 16. And then from Dynamite, we've got Muppets More. I've really been looking forward to this. This is Roger Langridge coming back to work on Muppets. I loved his run that he did through Boom Comics a few years ago when Disney took over Marvel. Boom, I guess, lost the Muppets license back to Marvel because I'm sure Disney was like, why is another company making these comics when we own a comic company now? I don't know that I ever heard that articulated, but that was always my assumption with that. And again, his Boom run on Muppets is great. If you haven't read those, seek them out. I think Marvel might have done some reprints of them, but I'm pretty sure that they're out of print right now. But yeah, they're great. Roger Langridge is a hilarious writer. I think he's one of the funniest writers working in comics right now, which you think, after calling them comic books, there would be a lot, but there's not. So yeah, definitely check this out. I know the Collector's Confessions channel just interviewed him, so maybe check that out. And again, if you're watching this channel, you should definitely be watching theirs. They give me shout-outs all the time on their live stream, so definitely check out that channel if you haven't somehow. We've got issue 22 of Rat City. Again, this is sort of this futuristic sci-fi Spawn book I've kind of got back into reading. From EC, we've got Tortured Hearts. And so this was sort of the horror Valentine's Day special they did. And I've got the latest issue, number 8 of Catacomb of Torment. Again, sort of the horror anthology book, sort of the standard sort of EC fare. And what else do we got? Oh, yeah. So then I've got the latest issue, number 4 here, of American Caper. This is the first one I pre-ordered because I didn't realize who the writers were until like 2 days before this book came out. So yeah, I've been going back and getting them now. So again, this is Dan Houser and Laszlo from Grand Theft Auto, if you've played any of those games. And so it's my understanding that they're not involved with Grand Theft Auto 6, the new one that's supposedly coming out later this year. But yeah, they're doing a comic, and I definitely wanted to check that out. So I've been picking these up. Now that's all the new books I got, but here are some other back issues I've picked up recently. I got some issues of Steel. So I have issues 8, 9, 13, 15, and 45. Yeah, this was the month where DC did all the characters' faces real big on the covers. I got the first issue of Warrior. Again, this was the Ultimate Warriors comic book from back in the day, because the 90s were a crazy time, and everybody got an extreme, crazy comic book. Then I've got Nemo, River of Ghosts. And so this was a League of Extraordinary Gentlemen spinoff, and I haven't read these, and I think this might be... Well, no, it's not the last. It's one of the last League of Extraordinary Gentlemen books I needed, though, so I picked that up. Then we've got Will Eisner, New York, the Big City. I realized at the beginning of this year that there's a lot of, like, sort of classics of comics I haven't read, and so I want to start reading some of those slowly. And I think I haven't read much Will Eisner at all. I've got some Spirit stuff, just random things here and there, but I'm like, I need to read some more of his graphic novels. Of course, I read, like, his instructional books back in the day, but yeah, I need to be picking up more of his graphic novels and checking those out. Then I picked up the complete Frank Miller Batman, and this is the ever-increasing, inaptly named book, because this was early on in his career with Batman. So this contains Batman Year One, Wanted, Santa Claus Dead or Alive, the Christmas issue that he did, and The Dark Knight Returns. So again, really good collection of stories here. You can't argue that, but it is definitely not the complete Frank Miller Batman anymore. But yeah, this was just such a nice collection that came out back in the day, and I've seen it several times over the years, but yeah, I just decided to pull the trigger on it and pick it up. And again, I have these stories, these are very accessible, easy to find stories if you want to read them. But it's like, yeah, just the presentation of this with the cover and everything and sort of the silver foil on it. I really wanted to pick this up. And again, I have the, I believe it's the Greatest Joker stories, which is sort of a companion piece to this already. So I thought I'd pick this up. Now, the last thing I got isn't really a comic book, but it's a certificate. So back when the second Robin miniseries came out, there was a plethora of variant covers they did. And again, this was like 1991, so that wasn't really the standard yet like it is today. So they came out with a slipcase of all the variant covers. And now I bought that. I've had that for years. But this is a certificate where you can redeem to get that. I have never seen this before. I saw it the other day. Now, I kind of held this up to the light. The certificate is in here, but this envelope is sealed. So I'm not really sure what to do. Again, this envelope is not in mint condition. You can tell there's some stains on it. I'm not really sure what that's from, if it's sun damage or what. It doesn't smell or anything like that, so I'm not worried about that. But I would really like to see the certificate. The other thing is, I don't know how well this envelope has protected the certificate. If the envelope looks like this, what's the certificate look like? So yeah, I'm thinking about maybe steaming or opening up the envelope somehow and kind of checking out the certificate inside. I looked it up online. I have seen what it looks like. But yeah, I would like to kind of open this up and take a look at it. What do you think? Should I open this up, see if the certificate is in there? I mean, I know it's in there, but like what kind of shape it's in, that kind of thing. Yeah, so let me know what you think. Let me know in the comments. Should I open this envelope up or should I keep it sealed like this? What are your thoughts? What would you do with this? So yeah, that's everything I've gotten in the last couple weeks. Have you gotten anything good? Let me know in the comments below here. And thanks for watching. If you'd like to follow me on social media, I'm on Twitter/X @Detective651. Also on Instagram @Detective651. Be sure to check out my t-shirt store at tpublic.com/user/Detective651. I've got a lot of nerdy designs on there, and there's sales all the time, so check it out frequently.